Hi everyone, it's Mark from Vintage Card Voyage. I have decided to do a solo episode today. Ken obviously is my normal partner in crime on these, but he did not go to the National, and I did. And so I just wanted to kind of do a recap of my National experience, which was excellent. Obviously, as I may have mentioned in my one of the previous episodes we did, this is my first time going, so quite an experience. Overwhelming is the word that I would honestly use for what the experience was like, because it was just a lot. In the best way, and honestly there were some parts of it that weren't great because of the fact that it was overwhelming, and yeah, it was just quite an experience, one that I will likely not forget, and so glad that I went, and I definitely plan to go again. I don't know when exactly, but that is the plan. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to briefly, like I said, go over the experience. I admittedly did not take that much footage of the event, and so that will be represented in this video. I'm hoping to get something in here, but there's not going to be much, I don't think. Sad to say. So I got in Wednesday morning. I took a red eye on Tuesday to get to here Wednesday morning, to Cleveland, I should say, and immediately got my rental car and drove to Canton to go to the Football Hall of Fame, because that was another bucket list of mine, along with obviously going to the National, was to get to all the halls of fame. And so went to the Football Hall of Fame for a couple of hours. I haven't been to the Baseball Hall of Fame since I was probably around 10 or 11 years old, something like that. So my memory obviously is probably a bit vague, but from what I do remember, it seemed to be more impressive than the Football Hall of Fame. I definitely enjoyed the Football Hall of Fame. I thought it was cool. There was a football card display there with all the Hall of Famers, and it was, I mean, and obviously the hall with all the area with all the busts of the different players with their with their faces and their heads, whatever. That was very cool. It was just kind of cool walking through that and seeing all these different people who had been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So that was neat. And just again, the displays they had were, of the history and such, was fun to go through as well. But again, I just felt like it kind of paled in comparison to Cooperstown. Again, when I go again to Cooperstown, whenever that happens, I may just find myself misremembering what it was like, and maybe because I was that young, it seemed bigger than it was. But I do remember it being pretty impressive. So anyway, so did that, then got back, went to the hotel, checked in, whatever, and then went over to the preview day for the National. And so obviously tried to find the vintage areas, focused on that mainly. And one of my kind of grail cards I had decided was the 1933 Gaudi Sport Kings Duke Hanamoku, which I may have mentioned in an earlier video about the National preview. And so I did actually, I looked for a while for one, did find one. And I believe it was, I might misremember this, but I believe it was Stan's Vintage that had this. And I liked the card, and I was tempted to get it, but the price point was just a little high for me. And so I was like, I'll look around, see what else I can find. And so spent the next couple of days doing so, and ended up not actually buying one. Just decided that I was going to keep looking, keep kind of waiting and seeing what the prices would go, and see if I could find something a little better. I'm not in any sort of rush to get this, but that's kind of, that was one of the grail cards that admittedly I didn't get this time, but figured I'm going to go to, I'm going to Strongsville hopefully next year. We'll see. And so I just decided I'll wait on that. One cool thing though was over near that table, actually, I ended up seeing Sammy Thunder. And so I went up to him, introduced myself, And he was great. And then I also saw Jason from, I'm blanking on this, Everyday Card Collectors, I believe. Saw him there with Sammy. And then also saw Eric from these back pages, excuse me. And he's actually one of our subscribers, and he recognized me, which was amazing. It was great to meet Eric as well. So thank you, Eric, for introducing yourself. And then Thursday, went back for the entire day. And I spent a good portion of the day looking for my, another goal that I had set was to try and complete an Al Kaline run. Yeah, I was just kind of spending the day mostly kind of looking for Kaline cards and the occasional, if I could find them, Hall of Fame rookie cards, because that's another group that I'm trying to find, PSA graded ones, collector grades for the Hall of Famers. And so wasn't as successful with the Hall of Famers, but was pretty successful with the K-lines. So I will show those in a little bit. And also, as it happened, in the morning on Thursday, I ran across Mike from Junk Wax Hero. And so I again walked up to Mike, introduced myself, let him know I had a channel, and he did the most amazing thing, which was went to his community page and talked about our channel and just said, check out Marc's channel when you get a chance. And it was awesome. I was really just so grateful for that promotion and just the fact that he would do that, because, he didn't have to. There was no reason for him to do it, but that's the guy he is. And so he did it, and he helped with, build up some subscribers for us. So again, really thankful, Mike, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that kindness, that kind gesture that you did. And then also actually right around the same time, I met up with, or saw, I should say, Chris Sewell from Baseball Card Collector, Investor, Dealer, in that order. And so I went up and introduced myself as well, talked briefly about my channel, and then he actually was approached by someone to buy some cards, and so he had to focus that out on that. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him too long, but it was still great to meet him. Again, he was probably one of the earliest channels that I was kind of really focused on when I started to watch YouTube. And so he kind of, was probably one of the creators who motivated me to, eventually get to that space where I decided to have the channel with Ken. So it was awesome. Chris, great to meet you. Thank you so much for that opportunity. And so like I said, spent most of the day kind of looking for Al Kalines, and just also actually ended up meeting up with my cousin, Mike, who is a collector, longtime collector. And actually, when I was a kid and just starting to collect, I went to his place in Michigan and got a chance to see his collection, which, again, this was about 40 years ago, which was amazing then. It was just like a room full of shelving units with all these cards, and I was just like in heaven. It was honestly heaven for me. And so he has continued to collect since then. And so he was going to be in the National, and so I ended up meeting up with him and spending some time with him, which was great. And he is actually a part of this group called Old Baseball Cards, or OBC. You may have seen, if you went to the National, you might have seen people with a shirt or a hat that says OBC on it. And so this is a group that I believe specializes in older cards, and they tend to also just trade cards amongst themselves. And that's kind of their thing. And then Thursday night, I ended up going to the YouTube get-together that Mike Moynihan had been one of the people, obviously, who put together. And that was, honestly, I think, the best part of the trip. I don't know any creators, like, personally. And so before going into this, to the get-together, I should say, and I ended up meeting a bunch of guys and who were so welcoming, so just genuinely kind, and just trading stories, talking about YouTube, talking about what their how the National was going for them, what their goals were, what they were looking for. It was amazing. I was just blown away by the kindness and the generosity and of the people there. And so I'm gonna Definitely forget some of the names who I met, so I apologize in advance for that. But one of the guys was Greg from Mackie Mintle. He was awesome. We talked for a while. Really enjoyed meeting up with you, Greg. Also met Dom from Staven Sports Cards. Again, had a really good time, good chat with him. Lou from Godlike Collectibles. Also had a great time chatting with him. And then I saw later on, we actually had there was a group photo outside later on in the get together. Took part in that and ended up over there meeting Dylan from Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. Dylan was awesome. We obviously, as you may know, for those who watch Dylan, he's in Hawaii. I grew up in Hawaii, so I talked to him about that. It was great. He was really welcoming as well. And I also ended up going up to Greg from Midlife Sports Cards, talked to him. He and I are both from the Bay Area, so we both talked about that, and that was awesome. And I actually got a chance to meet Mike Moynihan, which was a lot of fun. And also met with 3D 80s Kid, I should say. He gave me his card, which was a lot of fun. Actually, maybe I should show that as well. Part of the 4 collectors right here. Let me get out of the glare. And which reminds me, I should show Sammy Thunder gave me his business card, which was awesome. And Jason gave me, from Everyday Card Collector, gave me his sticker, which is great. Thank you so much. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It was really it felt really rewarding. And I really, again, appreciated the opportunity to see everyone and just, chat sports cards. It was just a lot of fun. And then, yeah, so the next day, again, spent a good portion of the day on Friday looking for Al Kaline cards. And I also decided to kind of try and focus my energy on 70s sets, because another of my targets right now is to finish the 1970s run of all the top sets. I ended up kind of focusing my energies on 73, 74, and 75, because those were cards that I found with certain dealers who were a little cheaper, and just spent some time, just kind of sitting there, going through cards and picking out, I have a list on my phone of all the different cards I'm looking for. So just spent a few hours just looking for cards, and it was fun. I mean, that's part of the collecting that I love, is just kind of going through cards and kind of flipping through cards, looking at all these different cards from the 70s, all the different players and all this stuff. And so it was just a lot of fun for me to do that. Regarding the K-line, the Al K-lines, I got a lot of different ones, and I was just really happy about it. All of them were raw, but it was totally, made it more cost effective. And if I decide to grade it, I'll grade it. But it was a lot of fun. So I got we got the glare 55 K-line, the 56 K-line, the 57 K-line right there, and 58 K-line. I bought a 59 K-line and realized, oh wait, I actually have one already, but oh well, that's all right. And then a 1960 K-line and a 1961 K-line, a 1963 K-line, a 1964 K-line, a 1965, I believe it's called the Gold Embossed K-line, so got that as well. The 1966, I believe this is, K-line. I'm really bad with mid to late 60s, unfortunately, with determining, but I believe it's 66. And then a 68 Topps Game K-line. That was awesome. And then, as it happened, so I ended up meeting up with my my cousin and a few of the people from the old baseball cards later, and he ended up giving me this, which is a 1982. Let's see, it's a Starliner. 82 was I think a reprint of a 1968 Starliner, something like that. So thank you again, Mike, if you see this. I really, really appreciate that, and obviously it was awesome to get a chance to hang out with you and see you. And then I ended up did get one of my cards that I wanted forever, honestly. And this is one of those, like when I was a kid, it was like, there's absolutely no way I'm ever going to be able to afford to get this, but I managed to, and actually got it from Ash. So that is the Mike Schmidt rookie card in a PSA 7. And also Ron Say, one of my best friends growing up, his name was Ron, and he was a huge fan of Ron Say, and his brother was named Steve, and he was a Steve Garvey fan. I believe I mentioned that in my initial video that we did, Ken and myself did. And so anyways, ended up getting that card from Ash. The dealer, as you may well know, had a large, case taken in Dallas about a month or so ago. And so I didn't get a chance to talk to Ash, but I did talk to one of his employees and let them know how sorry I was, and that I hope that they're able to find what they, what was taken from them. That was so tragic, and so everyone in the community, obviously, I've heard, loves Ash, and he's such a great dealer. So anyways, it was great to be able to help him out by buying one of his cards. So did that, and then end of the night, or end of the National on Friday, I went out to the Baseball Heritage Museum in Cleveland, and it's called it's at the Cleveland Historic League Park, and they had a baseball game there, and actually turned out to be a doubleheader of baseball, but from the perspective of the 1860s, and they used the rules like it was the 1860s, and most of the players dressed as if they were in the that whole thing. And so that was a lot of fun. It was just a unique experience. I got to go into the museum, which was admittedly a small museum, but it was very cool. I have some photos from that, like from the experience there, and it was really neat. They had this huge room with all these like monstrous paintings of like baseball cards, and that was great. It was a lot of fun, and it was just fun to again to see it and to hang out and watch this game. And actually, I also got some very cool photos from one of the OBC members, which he gave to me, which was very cool. So yeah, DiMaggio, Mantle, and Williams. And this one, the famous one of Ruth hugging Gehrig. And then, let's see, this is, I believe, Casey and Mickey Mantle. And then I believe this is one of Ruth pitching back in obviously, I would imagine the late teens, early 20s. And then I believe this is Joe DiMaggio scoring. So this is awesome. I love history. I love the photos involved and stuff, and it was great. So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I just decided after that Friday night, I was like, I'm kind of done. I can go home now, and I did. And so it was, again, a shortened experience, but I thought it was a great experience, and I'm so glad I did it. And really excited I got to go to the National. Really just happy about getting able to meet all these different YouTube creators, and their generosity and kindness was really, it'll stick with me for a while, and I really appreciated it. So thank you to all the creators who I was able to meet. The guys, they were all great, and yeah, I just really enjoyed myself. Even if it was a shortened trip, I still had a great time. So yeah, that was my National experience. So please feel free to leave a comment. I hope you guys enjoyed your National experiences, and if you didn't go, hopefully you'll be able to go in the future. And yeah, just feel free to leave a comment, and obviously if you could subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. So thanks everyone. Take care.